Okay, so fundamentally, I don't think the principles that actually drive new cities themselves doesn't change. Fundamentally, we want to create a vibrant economic environment. That means jobs, prosperity, opportunity. Those are the fundamental principles behind a thriving city. So that's what really makes cities work. It's creating opportunity, it's creating jobs, prosperity, businesses, economy to drive forward. So that will be the fundamental principles behind what we see as a great city. But what really is required is the ability to be able to connect the dots, to be able to transport, to be able to move across it much more effectively, much more efficiently. I think the uniqueness in India is the sheer density of the cities, the amount of people, the population that needs to be able to come in, move around the cities in an effective, quick and efficient manner. So that makes India unique. It sets it apart, I think. In terms of how do we do that? I mean, in terms of call upon resources, I mean, again, I think what we will do at Virgin Hyperloop is to be able to assist in how we view the way we plan our cities going forward. And that means to say that do we continue to build high density urban environments where real estate costs are extremely high, because that is the way cities are developed. There is a core to them. People want to be there, work, rest and play is the analogy I think has been used many times. Do we need to continue following that track? Can we do something different? Well, with Virgin Hyperloop One, and the way cities have planned in the past has been that cities have always dedicated, or individuals have dedicated an amount of time to travel, to commute. And that over the last 100 years has actually stabilized at about 1 hour. Now, if you consider that everybody accepts 1 hour as a time to commute, then that governs how you set and sort of develop the spatial planning of a city. People don't want to travel more than that, so you have metros, intra-urban transport, and then you have intra-urban transport as well. I think in our case, 1 hour on a Hyperloop opens up a vast amount of opportunity. In 1 hour on a Hyperloop, you are now connecting over 500 kilometer radii. So now you are now not looking at sort of large conurbations, metropolises. You're now looking at mega regions that could be connected. Now, what does that do? That enables for the individual that's looking for opportunity to look at a wider pool. For those that are actually employing, to not be limited to a smaller pool, but to actually look for the best talent in a wider region. It's to enable virtual density to be created, but rather than in one specific tight congested area, but to spread it and make the most of our natural resources. And I think this is the area that I really wanted to come back to. I think by creating dense, populous cities, what we end up doing is actually manufacturing an artificial environment where everybody wants to live, work and play. It's like the old Victorian analogy where Cadbury and Sir Titus Salt created villages so that their workers could be very close to where they actually spend most of their time. I think with transport revolution as I call it, that will change, completely change. In fact, what we can do now is look at where our natural resources are. Let's use our natural resources, let's put people best placed around those resources rather than have to artificially draw them in. Because now we can eliminate time and distance. And that's what our vision is, cities. Okay, I think with the predicted growth in India, I think environmentally and sustainable transport solutions are a given. They have to follow suit. Okay, and what we mean by that is that we need to be able to find faster, quicker, efficient, effective ways of transport that use less energy. They use natural resources. And again, what we are doing now is looking at systems that build on smart cities, build on big data. They don't actually require, why should we have to have a timetable? Why shouldn't we have systems that use autonomous technology as we go forward and enable us to have systems that react to the demand through the day? Why do we have to run empty trains when nobody's on them? So what we're now looking to do is develop a system that flexes up and down with the city. It is actually driven by the passenger experience, driven by your requirements. You decide on when you want to travel, you actually dial up, you find a pod which will come along at the time that you want. You have directions to that pod, you get on the pod, and then it will take you to your point of destination directly without stopping at any other location. That is the way I see the future environmental sustainable way of traveling. More importantly, because the system flexes up and down, our power demand is not constant. We are not using the same amount of energy throughout the day that you would on a normal metro or high-speed rail system, which requires energy whether the train's running or not. Or you're running empty trains for that matter. Here, you'll be running the system, and the demand will be driven by the user. So therefore, you are now going to be saving that energy during off-peak times. More importantly, because we use less energy because we're in a vacuum environment, we use a lot less energy because what we use is there's no friction, there is no resistance. Once the pod is actually running, continue running. And then what we just do is boost it every 8, 9, 10 kilometers. So we use less energy because we're in a vacuumless environment. And ultimately what we would like to do is have a system that has a net positive contribution back in using solar and renewable energy, because we don't use as much energy as we do with our conventional system. So our operations are going to be driven by the city. Yeah, they're going to be driven by the passenger experience. Yeah, so being in that environment, I think, enables us to link into digital data, smart city data. So we are dynamic in that sense. Our systems, our algorithms, our controls will be looking at what the city's doing. It's demand driven, it's driven by smart data, and then what we'll do is we'll react up and down based on what the city's doing. We'll be able to put additional pods in, we'll be able to take pods out. So I think from an operational perspective, it allows a huge amount of freedom and flexibility. I think moving forward in terms of operation, I think and asset management, because there's no moving parts, I think the whole life costs of our system will be a lot more effective, cost effective in the long term.